In this episode, you'll discover 5 Ikigai shifts to help you build a runway towards your next chapter without blowing up your life or staying stuck where you are. Welcome to the Midlife Reinvention Podcast, a podcast helping women in career and life transitions achieve clarity on their next steps so they can transform uncertainty into an energizing next chapter. I'm your host, Kavita Ahuja, and the founder of It's My Time Now Coaching. If you're wondering what's next in your career or life, you are in the right place. Through solo and guest episodes, you'll gain practical tips, tools, and inspiration to help you uncover blocks, gain confidence, and be, do, and have what you want. I rediscovered myself after the age of 50, and I know you can too. It's my time now to help you do just that. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to another mini episode of the Midlife Reinvention Podcast. I hope you're doing really well. In the last couple of episodes, I reshared my conversation with Francesc Miralles, the author of Ikigai, the book. And I did that because the concepts that we discussed are so important. They're really extremely important, especially if you are navigating a career or life transition. I truly hope that those conversations inspired you to think about your next chapter a little differently. Maybe even a little bit more expansively. But inspiration alone isn't enough. So today, I want to break these down practically. I'm going to pull out 5 very specific Ikigai shifts from that conversation. They're not theory or not philosophy, but things that you can actually begin practicing in your life today. Because Ikigai is a beautiful philosophy, but until you practice it, it really won't move the needle in your life. So here are 5 practical insights from my conversation with Francesc. The first one is to notice when a chapter is closing. One of the most honest things that Francesc said was this: when something that used to energize you starts draining you, that may be a sign that a chapter is ending. And it may not be dramatic, and it may not be a breakdown. It may actually be a quiet pull towards something different. And so many people miss the signal because they just start tolerating things. They say it's fine, they stay busy, and they convince themselves that they should be grateful. But deep down inside, they know something feels off. It may show up for you as Sunday night heaviness or Monday morning resistance, or that subtle realization that yes, you can still do your job, but you're no longer lit up by it. So instead of asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Ask yourself this: what door might be closing right now, and what could be on the other side of it? And that question, my friend, changes everything. Because Ikigai renews itself. It's not static. And if you're feeling misaligned, you're not failing. You're evolving into someone closer to who you were always meant to be. The second thing is to build a runway, not a cliff. And this second shift is strategic. Francesc talked about building a runway, not jumping off a cliff, and I see this all the time. People think that they either have to tolerate exactly where they are because it's comfortable, or blow up their entire life and start from scratch. But it's not like that. You already have the experience and the skills. You already have strengths. And this isn't about erasing your past. It's about building forward from it. Living according to your Ikigai doesn't require chaos. It requires intention. So here's something specific. Choose one runway action this week. Not a 5-year plan or a dramatic announcement. Just one action that quietly builds your next chapter. You could block 1 hour to explore curiosity, or reach out to one person in a field that intrigues you, or research something that you've postponed for months, or simply map where your energy rises and falls in your week. These tiny actions create direction, and when you move even slightly, your brain begins to trust you, fear softens, and confidence builds. The third thing is to measure your Ikigai through flow. In part 2 of my conversation, I asked Francis whether Ikigai could be measured, and I really loved his answer. He said, you measure it through flow. And what that means is flow is when time disappears, or when you're not watching the clock, or when effort feels natural, and you really feel energized afterwards. You know, I speak often about anabolic energy, and that is the energy that builds you up rather than depletes you. And flow is anabolic energy. So try this experiment. For the next 3 days, do a simple flow audit. At the end of each day, ask yourself, where did time move quickly today? Where did I feel absorbed and present? And where did I feel genuinely useful, like I contributed something meaningful? Because here's the truth, we just don't want success, we want contribution. And when you start paying attention to moments of flow, you begin to see clues, breadcrumbs, pointing you towards your Ikigai. So why not begin noticing it today? The fourth thing is to protect empty spaces. And this one can be uncomfortable, but very powerful. Francis said something profound. He said that any change comes from emptiness. And let's face it, most of us are never empty. We are full of obligations, notifications, urgency, and full of other people's needs. Of course, we have responsibility, and of course, we live our full lives, and we should. But clarity does require space. So this week, I'd like you to schedule at least one sacred hour, not to be productive, not to optimize your life or to catch up, just to be. Even 30 minutes is enough. Take out a notebook and go for a walk or sit in a cafe, breathe, meditate. When you create this quiet space, answers begin to surface, and they don't scream, they rise gently. Trust me. And write those down. And this is where your most honest insights appear. And this is where your Ikigai begins to take shape. And finally, number 5 is to curate your environment. Your environment includes the people you spend the most time with, the physical space you're in, and the emotional tone of your daily life. Francis reminded us that we become like the people we spend the most time with. So ask yourself, is my current environment reinforcing who I've been or who I'm becoming? Are the conversations around me expansive or contracting? Are the expectations around me aligned with my values or inherited from someone else's priorities? Sometimes your next chapter doesn't require a new identity, it requires a new environment. And that shift alone can accelerate everything. So, to bring it all together, here are the 5 shifts to bring you closer to your Ikigai. Number 1, notice when a chapter is closing. Number 2, build a runway. Number 3, track flow. Number 4, protect empty space. And number 5, curate your environment. None of these shifts require a dramatic decision, but they all require awareness. And if you're listening to this and thinking, I know this is me, I can feel something shifting, I can't keep doing things on autopilot, then please don't just let this be another podcast episode you nod along to, because insight without action turns into regret. If you're ready to get clear, truly clear on what's closing, what's emerging, and how to build your runway without blowing up your life, I invite you to book an Ikigai discovery call with me. On that call, we'll identify where your energy is leaking, clarify what is trying to emerge in this next season of your life, and outline the first intentional steps towards your next chapter. Not in theory, not someday, but starting now. The link to book this clarity call is in the show notes. And if something in you feels nudged right now, trust that. That's not random. That's your Ikigai asking for your attention. Until next time, my friend, be really well.